Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jojo Palacio. If you are not, thank you so much for coming back and tuning in. Today on my channel, we're doing this look right here. It is St. Patrick's Day inspired. I know that it is St. Patty's Day today, and I feel like when I work at Sephora, I get asked so many questions about how we can do a green wearable look. So here it is. I used one palette today, and that is also a godsend because I don't want to have to suggest you dip into like 5 different palettes. So this is the Anastasia Norvina collection palette number 2, and we dipped into it and used all these fun playful colors. I love the way the pigment comes through on these shadows. They're super easy to work with, and I feel like this St. Patty's Day look is going to be really easy for you to recreate. So I will not talk too much in this intro. I just cannot help but stare at myself in the monitor like it is. Look at that. I know, I love it. I love it. So we will get right into the video. I thought that since I have music playing in the background, I would let you guys know what it is in case you were curious. So I do take my time in the morning to kind of have a little devotional with my husband and listen to some worship music. And I will leave it on sometimes when I do my makeup. So I felt like the past couple of videos I have, and I like it a lot. I think you guys do too. I am actually listening to Kim Walker-Smith Essentials on Apple Playlist. I love her, love worshiping with her. I'm a total worship head, so I just feel like I'd let you guys know that because no, it is not me. No, I am not taking credit for it. YouTube, relax. Okay? Okay. So, that being said, guys, I will continue on to the video and the tutorial. Alright guys, so we are going to get started. I have the Urban Decay primer already on my eyelid. I'm just now going to go and set that with my MAC Studio Fix in C2. So I'm just going to take this very generously. I like to pat, not necessarily swirl. I'm going to pat this all over my eyelid. And let me tell you what, I know I probably say this every time I do a look like this, but regardless of it being colorful or not, guys, if you are not using something to set your primer, it's not going to blend out as well. Like I keep trying different methods. Look at my hair. Holy moly. This is real. This is like, the struggle is real. I can't get any more real for you guys. Like, that's all right. You'll be okay. You will be okay. We are 100% transparent, authentic on this channel. But anyways, so what I was saying is that you need to make sure that you are blending, setting the powder before you go into blend, just because it's going to be so much easier for you. So to create today's St. Patrick's Day look, for whatever reason, I have just been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to play with greens and blend things out in a halo eye and a spotlight eye. And so we're going to use this guy here today. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Collection Palette Volume 2. We literally used just this palette today to create the look. I did add a little bit of glitter over the green in the center from this guy here. This is the Volume 3. But that is 100% an optional step. You don't need to do that. So let's get started. So we're going to get started right away with the dark green in the palette. That is B1. And I'm going to take that on my BH Cosmetics number 7 brush from their Marble collection. I do have that linked in all of my videos. I think I'll link it to this one, but check that collection out. It is so inexpensive, but it's got both eyeshadow, face brushes, and I love all the brushes that are on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by packing the color in the outer corner, and I'm also going to do the same thing in the inner corner. And so what I like to do is really make sure that I pick up a lot of product from the pan. So you don't want to just boom and go onto the eye. You want to really just sit there for a minute and build it onto the brush. Get rid of the extra stuff. I always like to tap it on the corner of my vanity, and then I will go in and just start packing. And you want to saturate this color. Sorry that the mirror's here, guys. I just want to make sure that I'm facing the way that you guys can see the eye, but then at the same time, to make sure that I saturate. This step is probably going to take the longest for us, just to make sure that this color is nice and dark. Focus it on the outer corner and then the inner corner, and up here we're going to we'll work on it. Just make sure that you are getting that outer corner dark and the inner corner dark. I'm gonna do the same thing in the inner corner. We're just gonna wiggle that in here, hat wiggle. All right, so once we're here, we're gonna go and switch gears with the brushes. I'm gonna go into my Morphe X Jaclyn Hill collection. This is the JH34, so this brush here is a nice tapered end. This is a synthetic hair brush. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up two colors. I'm gonna pick up the yellow and the green here. So that would be A2 and A3. I'm gonna dip into the yellow first, and then pick up the green. And it really makes this really pretty halo situation around the dark green, and I love it. So I'm just gonna start by putting that in the very edges of the dark green and really just blending that out. Circular motions towards the brow, so away from your face towards the hairline. You're gonna do circular motions, and you're just gonna build that up until you get that nice gradient haloed effect. It will diminish the green a little bit, but we're gonna go back in and build that up. It's nothing but a thing. Use very light pressure in this moment, guys. You don't need a ton of pressure. I feel like that's one of my biggest takeaways for clients whenever we're doing a one-on-one situation is the amount of pressure they're putting on the actual brush. You have to be very sensitive, very careful with your eyelids. They are very thin. Even though the skin is pretty tough and God did an amazing job, it is a very thin skin. So you gotta be very light with the touch, but as well as for your blend. It blends out better when you are using a light hand. That's why I always recommend clients hold the brush further back and really just use your wrist to blend things out. So I'm gonna go back into that first brush and the green, and we are just going to bring Mr. Green back to life here, and I'm just going to repeat the steps that we did at the beginning all over again and just kind of mix that up into our transition shade. All right, so we're going to leave it like that. We're going to move on to the spotlight situation. So what I'm going to do to create that and open up the center of the lid is go back into my Urban Decay Eden primer. And I'm using a stiff flat brush. This one is by BH Cosmetics. I'm going to pick that up on the actual brush, and then we're going to go into the lid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in the center and kind of like stamp where I'm going to work. Because I'm going to whiten this up a little bit. Moving right along, I'm going to go back into the palette, and I'm going to grab the C2 shade, which is this guy right here. I'm going to pack it onto my Jaclyn Hill X Morphe collection. This is the JH41, which is still a flat brush, just a little thicker than the one we used. I'm going to dust everything off, and then we're going to start by tapping and swiping down. So we're just going to make sure that we've got all of that center covered. Once you do, I'm going to go back into that first brush that we used. I'm not adding any additional product. I'm just taking it right over the top here, just to kind of blend that in and make it a little more blended, just over the top. And then for the sides, to blend out the sides so there aren't any harsh lines, I'm going to go into this number 9 brush from that Marble collection, and I'm just going to take that into the edges of where the dark green and the glitter meet, and I'm just going to deepen that up with the dark green because I don't want any glitter in those areas, so it's just kind of to clean up a little bit. Perfect. This is the part where I said you guys can skip, but what I'm going to do is take the volume 3, and I'm going to take A2, which is this pretty, like, it's got iridescent holographic kind of like tones to the glitter, and I'm just going to stamp that right in the center. Again, not necessary for you. I just wanted some of the, like the pinks and the reds that are in there are going to help just really make this color pop. Okay, great. So the next step that we're going to do is we are taking this guy right here, which is my Urban Decay pencil in 0. Very much loved pencil. We're going to take this and we're going to draw a nice line right over the lash line, but I'm also going to tight line with this. And you guys can totally leave the line there, but what I like to do is take a stiff brush like this guy, and I'm gonna just run that over the eyeliner, and I just like to kind of smudge it out, smoke it out a little bit. I don't like it to be so precise. And if you're scared to get too close to your lashes, this kind of helps you cheat a little bit, but I love this. That's a really good trick. So we're gonna go right into putting our mascara on. Using my Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. I really like this because it gets right into that shape of your eyelid, and it just helps you get as close as possible. So for lashes today, we are using my favorite Cocoa lashes. It is Iris. I have quite a few pairs of Cocoa lashes, but I feel like this is the one that I like constantly order and go back to. So I am just going to reuse a pair of lashes. No shame in my game. So the first thing that I want to do is just go over the lash with a quick curl. I like to just curl it before I put it on my actual eyelid. It helps it sit up a little better, and it actually helps it go on your eye better too, because it's not getting in your way. So I'm just going to give it a quick curl. Very close to the band, to the lash band. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my applicator, and I'm just going to pick it up before I put glue on it. It's easier for me to get the glue. And we're using my Duo Quick Set glue. I don't think will not ever change this glue. It is so good. This is going to change the way you approach lashes completely. Like, your lash game will never be the same after you try this glue. So good. Alright, so I'm just going to come in from the top. Great, so let's get started on complexion. I am in love with this eye look. I'm in love with all of my eye looks, right? You guys gotta tell me, Jody, stop with that. Okay, so for the face, we're gonna start with my all-time favorite primer for pores, oily skin, texturized skin. You guys need to try this. This is a Dr. Brandt Pores No More. I feel like I've talked about this all the time, but then not enough people know about it, and I need to keep enlightening you guys, because this primer is a game changer. If you're someone who's struggling with the appearance of your pores, this not only covers, but it treats. If you're someone who's struggling with texture, it's uneven skin, you want something to just kind of help fill in lines, I'm telling you, stop sleeping on it. So the next thing I'm going to use is another primer. I'm combination skin. If you're combination skin, you might find benefit in using two primers. This guy is the Urban Decay All Nighter primer. So this is going to help, again, absorb oil, but it is also going to help the life of your makeup. I have complete and total confidence that if I wanted to wear this right through the night, I could. So I love this guy. Do not sleep in your makeup. Don't play yourself. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to go somewhere, do something, be up all day. This primer is so good. So we're going to go into my all-time favorite foundation. I feel like a bold look like this needs bold brows, full coverage, so we're going for it. I'm using my Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I am in the shade 2.18. I am going to take about yay much of the foundation. Don't play yourself. Start off with a little, work your way to what you need, because this foundation is definitely full coverage. I'm taking it on my Morphe brush. This is the M439 brush. And I'm just going to start buffing it into the skin. Do you guys see? So even, the finish of it is so perfect. Do not play yourselves, people. Work with either a towel, or I have a ton of wipies that I keep next to me, because I like to use my hands for everything. I will apply things to my hand before I do my face for more control, just because I can control the amount that I'm applying, and then if there's extra, I don't have to like figure it out on my skin. I can just wipe it off like I just did. So we're gonna move on to our contouring and our bronzing. For contouring, I'm gonna use this guy right here. This is my Milk Flex foundation stick. I am a huge fan of using cream foundations, cream sticks to bronze and tan. So I'm gonna take that I like to say it's the shape of an E or a 3. So you're gonna do forehead, cheek, and chin, and you're gonna blend that out. I like to blend it out using this guy right here. This is another one of the brushes from the BH Cosmetics, Cosmetics brush kit. So I'm just gonna work that into my hairline here, pushing it into the skin. I'm not really swirling. I don't wanna lift the foundation, but I do wanna work that in so it just kind of marries into the foundation. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna like stipple it into place. Perfect. So I'm gonna do that for the bronzing, and I'm gonna keep that brush nearby because we're gonna go in and kind of cream contour a little bit. This has to be my absolute favorite contour. Well, besides Nude Sticks has a really good contouring stick, as well as Wet n Wild if you're looking for something drugstore. But this is also another drugstore product. This is the LA Girl Pro Conceal Beautiful Bronze. And this shade is a little darker than our bronzing shade, but it truly is just for definition and a little extra added oomph to our contour. And I'm going to put the most minimal amount in these areas, and I'm going to just repeat, except if you notice this I only place in the temples of my hairline just to kind of help create some dimension there. It'll deepen that up a little bit, and then I did it at the very edge of my tragus near the ears to just keep that hollowed out towards the back. I like to do both just because I like the way that it looks in pictures on myself. If you're someone who is dry, then you might want to just stop at the creams like we just did. But if you're oily, then you might not want to do the creams and go into the powders like we're going to do later. So keep that in mind. It's all based off of your skin type. You can always take any routine that I'm doing and tweak it to fit your skin type. My skin type is combination skin, so I do have the oil and the pores in the center of my face, but I have experienced some dryness around the outer parts of my face, so that's why I do the routine the way that I do it. So that being said, we're going to move on to the actual concealing part. So we're going to go in with 2 concealers. I use 2 concealers because I like to conceal with one and highlight with the other. So for concealing, I'm going to use the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Nude. Nude is maybe like 2 shades lighter than what my actual foundation shade is. And then to highlight, I'm going to go in with this guy right here. This is the Booing Cakeless Concealer by Benefit, and I use the shade number 2. This is way lighter than my shade, but I like a very bright under eye area personally, so I'll show you what that looks like. What I like to do to apply the concealer is just pull it out, and whatever I pull the applicator out with is all that I'm going to use on my face. I'm not going to go back in for any additional product, and that's very important to you because that's going to help lessen the chances of it caking or creasing under your eyes. A lot of clients say, well, I don't like the fact that this concealer is creasing. I feel like it's not really working for me. It's supposed to be a creaseless concealer. And sometimes what happens is we just add so much because we think that more is more. And unfortunately, that's not the case, especially around your eye area. This is very thin skin, just like your eyelids are. And so you honestly, with a really good product like this one, you need just a little bit and you need to just work it in properly. So what I mean by that is I applied it in forehead, chin, around my nose, and I'll probably work that around my mouth as well. But I want to let this sit for a minute or 2 to kind of start drying. With a concealer like this is a natural, almost like satin finish type of concealer. It does have a little bit of a glow and radiance to it. So you want to just let it sit and dry out for a little bit to help it kind of cover more. So if you're using a matte concealer like the NYX or even the Morphe, even the Camo Concealer by e.l.f., you want to work with it as fast as possible because those are matte quick setting. They don't really need any of this. So keep that in mind because I played myself. I think I shared that with you guys in one of the videos where I was using the e.l.f. Camo Concealer and it did not work well. So I'm just gonna, after a few minutes of that sitting there, I'm gonna take my beauty sponge and I like to start with the chin and the forehead. And the reason being is I like to just work my way into the under eye area because if I save that for last, then I can go right into the powders and set it. And that's the best way to do your under eye area. So that's starting to create a little bit of a glow type of situation, but then I'm also working on the highlight with the other concealer. So for under the eyes, I like to work with the edges of it first. and then bring that into the inner corner. So I'm dragging the most amount of product into the inner corner where I feel like I have the most need for coverage. I take advantage of this moment and kind of clean up the eye area too. I'm not going to take away all of that, but I do want to clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to take this. I like it in the very inner corner, around the nose, around the mouth. I'll do a little bit here and here. Again, work with what's on the wand. I'm not going to take this like all over the place. Sometimes I'll do it up here, but I'm okay with where we're at. I'll use like the extra stuff to work it in. And that one I'm not going to let dry too quickly or too long because it is more of a like quick setting concealer. Okay, cool. So I am taking the C2 Studio Fix powder and I'm going to just set that real quick. I like to pat that into place. I'm not going to swirl. We're going to pat that into place under the eyes, anywhere where we just got done putting the concealer. No swirling, guys. We're going to pat it in. I don't want to lift anything. To bake under the eyes, if you are dry, stop. Do not do all of this. Just set under your eyes with that first powder and that's it. You don't need to bake. I, however, am not dry. I did mention I get oily in certain areas. Around my nose is one of them. And that kind of works its way up into this section here. So I'm going to take my Hourglass Veil Primer, Veil Powder, and I'm going to just push this into the skin. This is a very nice thin mineral powder. It works really well under the eye area. All over the face really, but I love it under the eye area. So we're going to finish off the eyes real quick. We're going to go back into this guy and repeat the same steps. So I'm going to take, I'm actually going to take a thinner brush, a stiffer brush. Like the black one we used for the liner, I've got a second one on deck and I'm just going to use that to load up on the green, and then what I'll do is I'll blend it out with this guy here using the lighter colors. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys on this channel before, but I have this also nearby as well as a towel, a paper towel. This is the Daily Brush Cleanser by Sephora, and I love to just have it and swirl in between to clean up. So if you're someone who has a limited amount of eye brushes, that's okay. Just get that. It's 14 bucks at Sephora and it comes in handy, I'm telling you. So let me grab this. I'm gonna just load it up. All right, so go back into that brush and the yellow and the light green, and we are gonna blend that out. All right, guys, so I smoked that out. I put some liner on. I did white. You could definitely do green, a gold even, but I just like, you guys know that I like a white or a beige. And then I did some mascara underneath. So let's finish the complexion. With this foundation, you don't have to set, but I always just like a little something, especially to dust off some of the powders. So I use the MAC Studio Fix in C, not the 2. C5.5, that looked very, yeah, so this one's better. I'm gonna use my BH Cosmetics V11 brush. And I'm really just going over and dusting off any of our baking powder, but also giving a run through just to set the contour and the bronzing before we go in and do some of that powder contour and bronzing. So to do that, I'm gonna take my good old Shade and Light palette by KVD. And I'm going to take my 2 shades outer part to help me further contour, and then I'm going to diffuse that out with the center shade to bronze up. So what I like to use to contour is, where you at, bruh? Right here. So this is the Real Techniques contouring brush. I'm sure I've had this for such a long time. Yeah, it's our contouring brush that like the letters are all rubbed off. But it is the perfect tapered brush to kind of help get right into here. and keep the color there. So I'm just gonna work that towards the hairline in that same E and 3 shape that I was talking about earlier. Next thing we're gonna do is we are going to go in with our number 2 brush from BH Cosmetics in that center shade, and I'm just gonna kind of slowly blend that out, blend everything together with this bronzer. I feel like the Milk makeup stick, the Milk foundation stick that we use to bronze does a really good job, but sometimes when you put so many powders over that, it can really diffuse the color, and I want to just kind of bring that up. I like to look nice and tanned, bronzed. Call me the contour queen at work. Because you know your girl she's Puerto Rican, you know? Look at all of our Puerto Ricans out there. Look at Miss J-Lo with her bronzy self. I'm here for it. All right, so let's go in with the highlight. I wanted to keep the highlight a little peachier toned. I don't want to throw a pink on with green. So I'm going to go with this guy here. This is the Too Faced Love Light Ray of Light highlight. And I'm going to take that with this guy right here. This is my M501 brush. Love this for highlight. I'm going to load the brush up. And then we're going to go in and load it up. I like to apply the highlight in the shape of a C, so I'll take it above the brow and then on the cheekbone. So I'm going to go into my Narcissist unfiltered blush highlight palette, and I'm going to take these 2 right here and just kind of blend that in. I saw the one. Mostly the bottom one. What is these 2? And I know there's colors. Undefeated and Fame, and I'm going to just really pick up, shoot, what color is that? Fame. Which is a peachier one of the 2. And work that in between the bronzer and the highlight. Let me use some setting spray. This is the All Nighter setting spray. Don't be greedy. That setting spray really helps all of the powders just melt together. It helps with temperature control. It is a mattifying, although they have an ultra mattifying one. So let me get my hair done. Put some lips on. Every time. Every time. Look at that. And I'll be right back, okay? All right, guys. So this is it right here. This is the St. Patrick's Day look. I feel like first of all, don't judge my hair. I did do it. This is what you're getting. Not straightening it. We're giving it a break. So she says right now, but I did a messy bun, which I'm feeling. Y'all can thank Adrienne Bailon for that. Okay, Adrienne Bailon Houghton. Thank you, ma'am, for bringing that back. But this is it right here. This is the finished St. Patrick's Day inspired look. I went with the nude lip, surprise. You could totally go and commit 100% and do a green lip. You could do a gold lip. That would be bomb with this. I'm just, can't. We're doing nude lips all the way. All the way. So this is it. I hope that you guys like the look. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button so I know that we like looks like this, festive themed looks. Don't forget that I post every Wednesday and every Saturday. Today was the only exception just because I wanted to get this up for St. Patrick's Day. So we're going back to our scheduled program. You'll see my next video on Saturday. Look me up on Instagram. It's Jojo Palacio. I'm also on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.